Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. In just a bit, I am hitting the road to check out the new musical, Wicked. So what's the plot of this movie? Well, it tells the origin story of the Witches of Oz, basically. That's the easiest way to sum it up. This film is based off of the stage musical of the same name, and it's also based off of the book of the same name. Or, wait a minute. The stage musical is based off of the book of the same name, and this movie is based off of the stage musical of the same name. Okay, does that make sense? And the reason I'm saying all this is because the book and the musical are like totally different monsters, okay? Because let me put it to you this way. The Wicked book goes hard. I read the book. I have not seen the musical, but I have read the book Wicked because I absolutely love The Wizard of Oz. Yes, that is 100% true. The Wizard of Oz, the original 1939 film, was one of my favorite movies growing up, and to this day, I still absolutely treasure that film. And then a close second to that movie has got to be Return to Oz. And I know there's so many people out there have their feelings about Return to Oz that it was too scary for children, but I thought it was freaking awesome. I thought that movie was great. The scene where she's walking around and there's all those heads in jars. Oh boy, kid me was loving that. Let me put it to you that way. But that's not the movie we're talking about today. Oh no, this is the musical Wicked. It is PG. It is not that crazy of a film from what I understand. It's meant definitely for families, and I honestly think it's going to be the big film of the year. I do. There has been so much marketing put out for this movie. It is unbelievable. Right now, folks, you can go to the Walmart in the United States and get color-changing mac and cheese. And I don't know if it says on the outside of it whether or not it turns pink or green. I think it's a surprise. But to be perfectly honest, guys, I don't know if I want to eat any green mac and cheese. From what I understand, when cheese turns green, that's never a good thing. But you know what? I'm not here talking about the mac and cheese. Oh no, I need to get out the door because I need to go see Wicked. Welcome back, just getting home, and did I like this movie?
I guess.
Okay, let's get this started. Now, normally I have negatives and positives, but to be perfectly honest, guys, unless I just want to get stupid nitpicky about this film, I didn't really find anything at all bad, to be perfectly honest. There was no moment where the CGI looked like it was spotty or bad. Yes, I could sit here and say that the animals in the film had a very cartoony vibe to them, although they did look really good. The movement and everything looked very well done and all. And I think really the only reason it has kind of a cartoony look is because, I mean, let's be honest, guys, this movie is directed at a younger audience in a lot of areas. I mean, yes, it is supposed to encompass the entire family and be enjoyment for everybody, so I feel like making the animals a bit cartoony for this movie doesn't necessarily ruin the film, and it does help the kiddos out a little bit to kind of pull them in. Because you know why, guys? This movie is long. Yes, this movie comes in at about 2 hours and 40 minutes. So make sure you have snacks on hand, because those little guys are going to get a little antsy in the pantsies, if you know what I mean. Make sure you have plenty of little sippy cups filled with drinks and so on and so forth, because you're probably going to need them if you got some little ones. However, even though the movie is long, there were plenty of kids in the audience with us this evening, and we didn't hear much out of them at all. Yeah, your normal like, oh, she's green, or something like that you might hear in the distance, just those cute kiddo things that you might hear in a movie theater, but never did I hear kids getting impatient or wanting to get up and run around or anything like that. Their eyes were fairly glued to the screen at all times. The pacing in this film is really outstanding. Again, this movie is long, and at no time did I feel the runtime of this movie. It just flowed along silky smooth like butter. And to be perfectly honest, the pacing and the runtime of this movie really had me worried going into into it, because from my understanding, the stage musical is only about 2 hours and 45 minutes long in its entirety. And here's the thing about Wicked. This is only part one, but don't worry, you do get a complete story. This isn't one of those movies where it just like ends on a super big cliffhanger or anything like that. The movie does wrap up some things for you. Yes, there's still stuff that needs to be wrapped up. It's not the complete end of our story, but it's enough to satisfy you, to make you feel like you did go see a complete film. That's something that I always get super annoyed with these types of things that Hollywood likes to do. Making The Hobbit a trilogy, cutting up the final book and movie so you have 2 movies instead of 1, like The Hunger Games and Harry Potter and all. That shit just annoys the ever-living hell out of me, because 9 times out of 10, they cut it in a spot where all shit has hit the fan and you don't get a complete story. It just feels like an excruciatingly long trailer for the next movie where they're finally going to resolve all of the problems in the series. Where in this film, however, you do feel like you go on a journey with these characters. And that's another thing. The characters in this film are outstanding. They're extremely well made, and the acting is outstanding. And I'll get to that. But first, I just want to talk about the characters in general. When I walked into this film, of course, I was going to like the Wicked Witch of the West. I'm just going to call her that, okay? I know that's not her name technically yet in this film, but I'm just going to do that because, to be perfectly honest, I can't remember how they pronounced her name. So anyways, the Wicked Witch of the West. I knew I was going to like her because she was the underdog. She's our person that we're supposed to be following out throughout this story. But I was a little iffy about Glinda. From what I saw in the trailers, she seemed like she was going to be very superficial and hard to really enjoy. But no, not at all. There is this really cool thing that this movie does with its characters, and I don't think that it's something that I hear very often. It's called character development. And this film does an excellent job of doing that, because at the beginning of the film, I couldn't stand Glinda. I wanted her off the screen. Every time she was on, she annoyed me. And then as the film progresses, I really started to like her, to the point where I was like, no, she can stick around. That's okay. We don't need to end it here like this. Let's give Glinda a little bit more, all right? I really enjoyed the character, and that's not to say that the witch wasn't a great character. She was also great. She had plenty of great character development. She has a nice little sub-story that kind of gets her to where she is as our villain of this story. And here's another thing, guys. I don't generally like the sympathetic villain in a story. I like my villains to be pure, unadulterated evil. And that's how I've always viewed the witch. I've never had sympathy for the witch in my entire life until I watched this movie. And the character is just so well developed and so likable that you're fine with everything. You're like, oh man, I really know how this story is going to end with her. But that's okay, because at least right now she seems to be a little happy. And all in all, guys, this is an extremely solid film. Oh, I forgot to bring up the acting. Okay, so Ariana Grande and Cynthia Arrivio, so sorry. But anyways, they are together and their chemistry is outstanding. They are so good together, and I loved every moment that those two were on screen. Their chemistry, their vibe, everything was outstanding. You actually got to watch them start off as mortal enemies and start becoming friends. I like the way the story built on that, and it really worked. Sometimes in movies like this, especially with the sympathetic villain angle, these type of things don't work. Or they turn the person that you originally thought as the hero, like Glinda, and they turn her into more of a villain, like one of those mean girls that you hear so much about. But they don't do that in this movie. She still stays very true to her core, and she tries to do the right thing throughout the entire film. Now, yes, as I said, she's very superficial and hard to like at the beginning, but as the film goes on, you really start to like her and you start to root for her. All in all, guys, I have to say this is an extremely solid film. There is one thing. Okay, I forgot to bring this up. Michelle Yeoh is also in this film. She is outstanding in this movie. Really liked her. But Jeff Goldblum, this is my only problem. Now, Jeff Goldblum is an outstanding actor. I absolutely love Jeff Goldblum. I have back here my Jeff Goldblum prayer candle. Yes, this is a real thing. He gives me strength sitting back here behind me as I do my videos. So yes, I really appreciate the man's work, but unfortunately for me, he just didn't work as the Wizard. In my mind, I pictured the Wizard of Oz as this gin-soaked, just con man, snake oil salesman, just a real slimy type of character that comes off as a very friendly and boisterous, fun kind of guy that you're supposed to like, but then you learn of his evil and manipulative ways. Maybe not evil, but definitely manipulative. And unfortunately for me, Jeff Goldblum just didn't pull it off for me, and this is funny because this has not his problem. This has nothing to do with him whatsoever in his acting style. It's the fact that he just has kind eyes. But for me personally, and this has nothing to do with his acting, I just thought Jeff Goldblum was just not the right actor for that part. His quirky, fun, upbeat style of acting just didn't work for the kind of person that I would expect the Wizard to be. But other than that, guys, this is an extremely well-made, very pretty film. The CGI in this movie is also very well done, and I cannot believe I'm saying that because I'm normally very hard on CGI. I cannot even remember the name of the Oz movie. It was that weird James Franco one that came out with, it was just weird. I don't even know. I can't remember the finer plot points to that one, but that was supposed to be the origin story of Oz, the Wizard, and how it all comes about. But in perfect honesty, guys, this version, this specific version, the musical version, I feel fits so much better with the original Wizard of Oz. Yeah, because it's a musical. It works well in that area. The music in this film also, in my opinion, emulates the music from the original Wizard of Oz, and that allows it to slide right into the universe and make it feel very solid, like it's supposed to be there. And I didn't get that with the other Oz film. And a lot of the other movies that they've tried to make to kind of connect all these Oz movies together, they didn't really feel like they really connected as well with the original 1939 film as this one did. Even though I absolutely love Return to Oz, with it being a non-musical, or as it's referred to in theater as a straight play, it doesn't really feel like it's connected to the original film. But this time around, it actually feels like this movie and the 1939 movie should go together in a very beautiful and harmonious way. So all in all, guys, this is an extremely well-made, well-put-together, absolutely gorgeous film that does not rely heavily on CGI. There's a lot of really well-done practical effects, very well-built sets. The set dressing looks amazing. So much attention to detail went into the making of this film, and like I keep saying, because I want to make sure that I give these digital artists their just deserves, and that's the fact that CGI looks so crispy in this film. So yes, guys, this movie is getting my definite seal of approval. Get out there, see this movie in theaters, buy the Blu-ray, pick up your hats, get your popcorn buckets. Let's support this film because this is just a good old-fashioned old Hollywood movie that you can take the whole family to see, load the kids up in the minivan, head down into the old Megaplex for the Sunday matinee, and have a great time. And don't forget to buy your popcorn bucket. Alright guys, well that's all I have for you today. Thanks again for checking out the Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And if there's one more thing you can do, folks, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna. Color changing mac and cheese, folks. Color changing mac and cheese.